position, you're going to have to add a forward or two, aren't you?
We will add. We need a forward, maybe two, and through the process it'll happen today. I'm certain of that. Obviously, Rochester is practicing this morning, and the things that need to transpire haven't yet. So, but there will be.
What's your take on just the mood and the temperature? I mean, 5 in a row is 5 in a row, but like we talked Saturday, the schedule's been rough. You got more out of the game Saturday. It's a new week now. What's your feel of the temperature?
Yeah, I think streaks and just that specifically is not for us as a team. Things happen. There's been lots of streaks either way in the league. Teams have gone through worse streaks than we're on right now. Really good hockey teams that we know are good hockey teams in the league, and it happens. But you can't let that change what needs to be done. And for us, no different than if we won, 3 of those games, and we could have won games. So you just have to stick to what work you need to do. And like I said, it can't change the way we do business in the sense of we know areas that we need to get better at. We know areas that we can improve at, and we've seen lots of growth, lots of improvement. Obviously, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, you can't not see that improvement. But it's through the roster. Those guys are just glaring. And when we stick to that, we will resolve any or more challenges than not. I shouldn't say everybody's going to have challenges all the way through the season, so I don't want to say resolve all our challenges, but resolve it to the point that outcome is going to be more favorable and more consistent. I'm confident of that. I know it. We've been through this process. Where we're challenged is, in these situations is experience. But this is experience. Unfortunately, this is experience. So you can't let it break you. It breaks lots of teams. It breaks lots of players. That's the history of sports. We will not let it break us. And again, we're just going to, steadfast in what we do. We know it's going to work. It is going to work. We know it 100%. Just keep doing it.
Does it feel like a weird season? Like you said, a lot of teams have been on weird streaks. Vancouver had a horrible streak at the start of the year. Does it seem like they're just that wild?
I honestly, Mike, I think we're in a 2-year span or 3-year span where we're really going to see lots of turn, where you see these teams that have struggled and franchises that have struggled, but have done a really nice job bringing in young talent and sticking with it. The guys that have been, there's been a lot of guys and teams that have been, riding the outer edge of age for the last few years, and that's obviously you age out at some point. And I lived through it a little bit in Chicago and the challenges they had there, and it's inevitable, because this sport is like professional sports, not this sport, all sports are age driven, and you see that happening. So I think we're in that window of where that's really going to flip some things from when I watch around the league and see around the league. That's why I say what we've set out to do a year and a half ago, we become more confident every day. So even the string of losses right now, it's honestly, we have every right to be more confident in seeing how things are going to turn, and they're going to turn in a relatively short time throughout the whole league, I believe. And I think we're positioned very well for that.
You mentioned on Friday that Tage has really led with his play over the past week or so, ever since that game against Tampa. What impresses you about the way that he's responded to a game like the one in Tampa, or just the added attention that he's getting as a player now that he's not surprising anybody? Every team has him circled on the board before a game.
He's realized that he is a top player at this level. That's one component that's happened. Prior to that, he knew it could happen. Now he realizes it's happening. And he's always been a determined guy, and now he can be determined knowing he can achieve more in the moment. He was a guy that was determined that he could achieve off in the distance after months of training, after another year of development, after this and after that. It's now for him, and that's the big difference. He has that now confidence. Some people have confidence that, okay, if I work today, it's going to work out tomorrow somewhere off in the future, and that was the spot he was in for quite a while. But now he recognizes that, hey, all the work I've done, I'm in the moment now that all that work pays off. And if you match that confidence with competitive determination, you can bring it each and every night. And I think, I really think we're you can speak on that and look at Darlene too. It's the same thing. He has that conviction where before it was confidence. Now he knows. He knows that he can make the play. So give me the puck. He knows that he can achieve in the now. And that is what we're going and undertaking at a team level. That's why I say we're doing all the right things to get to that point at a team level, but we're not there yet at a team level. We're going to get there. There's no doubt in my mind we're getting there. So he exemplifies that.
As far as Eric goes, he's played just a lot of games, been a starter at other levels, but I mean, this is new for him. How have you seen him kind of wrap his arms around the starting role? I mean, he says he doesn't really compare differently, but just watching him every day, just how have you seen him?
Yeah, it's still uncharted territory for him. So I think he's still evolving in that role as the number one guy, or the guy that we go to for more games. He can handle the workload. So I think it's still a process for him, much like I just spoke of for Eric. It just he hasn't been there yet. So he might have the confidence he can do it, but it's going to become conviction after experience happens, and you can only get that after. I shouldn't say you can only get it, but he's working toward that.
And how big, for lack of a better word, have Craig's appearances been? He stepped in and he's seamlessly kind of just in your back. A lot of teams obviously don't have that.
Yeah, he is. With Eric, we've been able to keep or provide Craig the opportunity to play rested, which is not something you can do often in this league or at this level. You can't do it as a number one guy starting all the time. But I think Craig is wise enough, to use that. If he's fresh, you can see how intelligent of a goaltender he is, how efficient of a goaltender he is, and that's been a huge key. And he does that. He has a presence to him that I think carries over beyond his position to our team, which we've talked about a lot.
With as well as he's played, have you been tempted to use him more?
It's really rest with him. He's got to be fresh. If he's fresh, we're seeing him. When we see him excel, and just even in last year, it's fresh. And it takes a little bit more. We all know how it is when we age. It's different than 5 years prior, and especially at this level of high level elite athletes surrounding you. So I don't feel tempted. I think it's when I look at Craig, if he's fresh, he's ready to go. That's good, but we want to provide him that time, and Eric's can handle much more. So.
How do you guide these players that maybe haven't had these experiences before through the highs and the lows?
Yeah, it's a challenge. The challenge is you want to push them, but you need to provide the support as well. They're giving up a lot of years, a lot of size, strength, or that's for the young guys, and unfortunately, it's you don't get experience until you experience it, and a lot of times, the ones that last are the mistakes. You would probably drive over the speed limit every day until you got your first ticket, and then you realize, okay, I can't speed all the time, and it's a little bit like that in the NHL, and that's a challenge, but you got to feel it out. And I'm not saying I speed every day though, Joe. So.
Hey, Dan, how important is tomorrow not making it 6 in a row, going into the road trip, 3-game road trip? How important just being at home and get a win?
I mean, any win, every win's important. Certainly now, you know, I think our guys do a pretty good job of tuning out things that don't help them try to win a hockey game. But as you know, as any team in pro sports, as the losses accumulate, the noise gets louder around you, and it can be a distraction to focus. It can be a real negative to create anxiety, create, you know, tension. I think our guys do a really good job to block out, to not allow that dynamic to happen. But any time you teams don't win in leagues like this, it compounds the potential of it to compound. So it'd be one, you know, thing when you win, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to try to block it out. So you can stay focused, block it out for a purpose. So yeah, a win is based on that. A win would be great, but you know, we're going to go into the game. We won't even mention that. It's not even worth mentioning. Honestly, you got to get focused on your execution. And like I said, you look at 5 games. We could have won a couple, and you know, and I don't think anybody would be surprised. We could have won more than a couple, and I don't think anybody would be surprised. We're not playing poorly, and that's really what we want. We want our guys to compete and play hard, and we know over the long run that's going to bear out well for us.
When it comes to Henry, he said in the locker room, like, he's not a savior. It's not like he can just fix anything that has gone wrong, of course. But what have you been missing with him? More reliable presence with the team?
Yeah, well, I would say, you know, no single one guy in a team sport is going to be a savior. I mean, the teams win in this, so you can add great pieces, but it's it's a collection of those that are the tipping point to winning. And you know, we're maybe below that tipping point in some of these games, and now you're adding a guy in that can play 25 minutes. And that is a lot of hockey. To have a guy that can give you more stability for 25 minutes is significant. And you could look at our margin of defeat and error in the last few nights could simply be put in that context. So in that context, yes, adding Yokoharu is huge. Now, he's been off for a couple weeks. He's dealt with an injury. So how long will it take him to get back to, you know, his level of proficiency? We don't know that. He hasn't had a lot of practice, and this is probably a supplement to his practice, getting back in there to get back up to his form. So, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on him, obviously, but he's a talented guy, and that'll be a big help getting him back.
What do you like about putting Power and Dodge together?
Elite hockey sense. I mean, they both read situations so well together that I think if you could keep them together, and they will go together in the future, they're going to be pretty special. That is a dynamic pair. But yeah, they're just their intelligence. They read and see things at a level that not many do, and at the level that they can almost communicate intuitively, silently as they make plays.
As you get a little bit healthier, does it make you a little bit more comfortable putting those guys together, just as far as balancing out the blue line?
Yeah, it would. I mean, Samuelson and Yokoharu are two guys that are just, you know, those are guys that can separate people from the puck quick. They're strong. And you know, that goes a long way for, you know, power play, entries against you, exiting your zone. Like, there's so many. So when you have those players back, you don't have to compensate for not having him. So you're asking Owen and Dolls a lot less, and that can free them up to. But we do like those guys in offensive situations, an offensive zone face-off, maybe with the Thompson line, or after an icing, if a team gets stuck out with a line that's tired. You know, if you win that draw and it's in the hands of Owen and Dolls, it's highly likely you're going to be able to create something right then.
In those guys' absence, how have you seen Fitzgerald take a step forward? I saw he was all over Frederick Saturday night, but how have you seen him kind of learn more about himself?
Yeah, I think, you know, Fitzy hasn't had a lot of games in the NHL, so he is evolving, and he's taken in a lot, and there's, you know, like I said, unfortunately, a lot you learn from experiences through making mistakes, and I think, you know, with all the guys that have come in without a lot of experience, it'd be him, Clegg, not a lot of games, Pilot, not a lot of games. You know, it is still they're in a major learning, you know, period of their career. But he's progressing. He competes. Fitzy competes every night. He has an identity of playing physical, and that's good. So there are things that are real nice to see with him.